Friday the
Friday the 5th. It's Revenge of the.
oh oh sing Happy Cinco de Mayo. Happy
Hmm.
Cinco de Mayo. The day after, May the Fourth be with you. All the good stuff. And yes, I tweeted. I was like, I forgot if I tweeted or not. It's one of those things I don't know what to do. It's one of those
Yeah.
weird things.
Now,
It's
do you
Friday.
say Revenge of the 5th for Revenge of the Sith, or do you say Revenge of the 6th for Revenge of the Sith? Because
I
now I've got Star Wars nerds that have debated me on both.
I will
Because I like
say
5th because then it's also like you've got kind of an adorable little like speech impediment.
so I would
5th.
probably say this. I think there's a
Me and Mike
certain
Tyson
number
were
of
very
people will
similar, so.
probably yeah, no. I think there's a certain number of people that will argue and say Cinco de Mayo is Cinco de Mayo and it is Revenge of the Sith because it is the sixth. So that you
Oh,
can
because your
give
recovery from
yeah,
Cinco de
recovery from
Mayo,
Cinco yeah,
the
you got
revenge
the
of.
revenge.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
And
that
then of
makes sense.
course
I
may the
like that.
fourth be
Well,
with
we'll
you.
go with that. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Best of Our Week, where two old
Absolutely.
guys get to hang out. Basically, this is just a conversation where two old guys hang out and talk about the
Yeah.
tech they used this week. And we just thought some other folks would be along for the ride. We're doing it Friday morning. I appreciate everybody kind of being flexible with our schedule because we have a lot of life stuff that comes up at the end of the week. And my daughter's
Yeah.
school had a talent show, and she was so excited to go and watch her friends perform on stage. And this was kind of like a
Absolutely.
big step for
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
school. So I had to. I had to bounce from our normal Thursday night stream. So
Dude,
Friday, happy Friday.
happy Friday, everybody. Happy Cinco de Mayo if you celebrate, and drink responsibly if you can. Be nice, be good, be good to your
Yeah,
brethren out there.
but if you do, break out the Don Julio. I mean, make it good, make it
Yeah,
count.
make it count. If you're gonna get hammered right.
Hey, I want to
Um,
jump right in with a really cool piece of tech.
sure,
Can we
go
just
ahead.
like shortcut all of this? Because this is
Why not?
something that I've really enjoyed. I think it's really cool. This is coming by way of our buddy Shannon Morse at
Sharon Morris,
Snubs.
snubs.
She does a
Yep.
lot of security stuff. I switched over, especially with Twitter getting rid of SMS two-factor
Yes.
authentication,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, this wasn't a joke. I am actually transitioning into something that's kind of cool. Um, so I got a YubiKey, so one of these
Oh, you picked
little
it up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You
two-factor
picked up the key
keys.
faction.
This
Yep,
is
exactly.
the NFC one, and so it's
Hmm.
got a little USB-C plug. You plug it into a phone or a computer, and then you can also use it to authenticate by rubbing the NFC antennas together in a very scandalous fashion. Um,
We just went R-rated in 2 seconds. But yes, keep going,
well,
rubbing.
PG-13. I mean, we haven't turned on the blue. I can turn the blue lights on behind me, and we can
I
make
thought
it
you.
really blue if we want to.
I don't know, man. I've heard it's rumored to be the red light district, not the blue light district, my friend.
Oh, see, there we
But
go.
yes, okay, we're gonna
Now we
be
made it
accurate.
spicy.
Let's be accurate. But yes, I don't have red light.
I
But yeah,
I am so in love with this little hardware key. I
okay.
am so frustrated now by websites and services that don't have an option to
Two fact.
use hardware key. So like I set up my Google account, my main like some gadget guy professional account, and now when I set up a new phone, it's so much faster than like reaching for another device to do the authentication because I can just have this plugged in as I'm setting the phone up and it
It
sees it and
authenticates
it
right
just
away.
authenticates and you're like
That's a good point.
this is awesome. So
Okay.
if anyone has the means to check them out, the other thing that I'm very impressed by is I've had these for about 2 weeks now.
Hmm.
I mean, I got one in a spare. You don't want to put all of your encryption stuff on one and then because this is a little thumb drive kind of guy. It's really thin. I've already washed it, so it's made it through a round in my washer because I had it in a pair of shorts and I couldn't feel it in the pocket of
That
my shorts, so I
that
need to
that
get
that's a life
a
test.
better
Yeah, that's
keychain
a good
for it.
one. Yeah, it's a good one.
Survived, still working,
Okay.
doing fine.
Uh-huh.
I would not recommend people do that test.
I I've
I have done
I
that
will
test for you.
I was gonna say I will probably admit to a certain number of my tech going through the wash
Yes,
cycle, but yes,
usually earbuds or something like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Actually, no, surprisingly, quite a few earbuds, and even my son's, like he forgot the buds themselves in his pocket, but the case was
Yep.
outside. But then they still survived somehow. I don't know, but yeah, but good. So it survived the wash cycle. I'm glad. And was it
Survived the
gentle,
wash.
tumble dry? I'm just kidding. But
I just do normal whatever. When I wash my clothes, it just all gets wadded into one big lump. But I would very much encourage people to check out a solution like a hardware encryption key.
Yeah,
It's better for your data privacy and your data security and locking down your accounts and stuff. And we've seen a lot of like
quite a
YouTube
bit.
channels get hacked
Yeah,
recently. But
actually,
the
Snubs
other
just
is,
dropped a video about that a couple of days ago.
I
Specific
mean,
topic.
again, if you're not subscribed and watching Snubs, you're missing out on some really and again, good techie mid-level conversations. Like I like that she doesn't dumb down stuff, but she has a lot of fun. Like it's a really bubbly conversation about like
Absolutely.
two-factor authentication and these
Hmm.
different security protocols, and this is how we get this to match this website, and you can request this. But yeah, I just the ease of use has been pretty rad.
I love it. Yeah.
I switch phones too often to safely use authenticator apps.
Yeah, I stopped using those because you're
So
right. It's impossible. It's impossible, especially because the setup process for those when you're transferring them, not the easiest and not the most conducive thing to do. Especially when
yeah,
you want to get into the phone, you want to start using it. The last thing you want to do is trying to go find where your key is and log in and authenticate. But
yeah.
um,
And
the
I
yeah,
then if you have to have a master, so if you're in a situation like us, and a few of the people in our chat like to have a couple different options for their phones, I
absolutely.
find that authenticator apps bring the same problem as an
Hmm.
authenticator key, where hey, I just got this new phone, I'm setting it up. Now I need to go get that one phone that I use as the key and have that nearby so I can use that authenticator app, or you could just have a little key. So Steve is asking, was it in the dryer also or only the washer? So it came out of the pocket and I found it at the bottom of the washer. So I didn't run it through the
Oh,
dryer.
okay,
So it
okay,
didn't hit a high heat cycle, but it did hit a high water temperature wash cycle, and it's survived. So
good to know.
I have the YubiKeys. I have lots of nice things to say. If you're interested, check out Snub's videos, and then
Yeah,
she also has affiliate links for them. I bought mine using Snub's link.
okay.
I would also recommend that you use Snub's link for your own authenticator key. I'm not going
Can
to
you
set up an
can you
affiliate with
can you say
YubiKeys.
Slums link 5 times fast?
No.
No, I tried saying it
I can't
once and it
even say
just
it
stumbled on
once.
that one. So that's why I was asking you. But and also on a side note, congratulations to Snaps for hitting 100K over on YouTube. I know he was
Yeah.
excited to get that.
Long
And
overdue.
while we're talking
She
about
has been
Snubs,
deserving that since she was doing what was the show she was doing with Patrick Norton? I can't
oh
remember. Anyway, yeah.
yeah,
But
well,
you know she was doing the
no,
that like kind of old school G4 style
yeah, I
show.
know.
She
And
was
somebody's gonna
awesome on
jump in the
that.
chat and right now they're gonna make us look like two old idiots.
It's
But
like Tech Thing or Techno or I can't remember. Anyway, I'm sorry, I
yeah,
interrupted.
I was
You
gonna
were gonna.
say, I took her advice and I didn't realize it was that easy. But I got my YouTube channel verified. I was like, apparently it was much easier than anything else. You
Hey,
just
good job.
apply 24 hours later, TK Bay is verified. I'm like, why was I not verified like thousands of years ago? But yeah, no, sorry. I was like, did not know it was a thing.
Well,
It is a thing.
I'm glad that worked out for you because it took me almost 11 months to get my YouTube plaque for breaking
The
100,000
100K.
subscribers.
Yeah. I
YouTube
remember. Yeah, there was a big delay on
is
that one.
is is working aggressively to ignore that I exist. So I'm glad that they're not doing that to you.
I I mean I got the plaque. The plaque is gracefully sitting there and hopefully one day I'll get the one for the Arabic channel. But the verified thing I didn't even know is a thing. That was the weird part about
Yeah.
it. Like you're able to get verified. And I got verified under TK Bay, not Tariq Bay. So I still have
Hmm.
the Tariq Bay account, which I could technically apply. But
Well, I
long
lost
long story short.
I lost my check mark on Twitter because I'm not paying for Twitter Blue.
Yeah, and
But
yeah.
the same day I lost my check mark on Twitter is the day that Mastodon verified the Some Gadget Guy website.
Oh good, yes.
So
So you have it as an authentic.
if you want to trust that there's a Some Gadget Guy out there with the check mark, the Mastodon check mark Some Gadget Guy is the legit one. If you see a Twitter Juan or Some Gadget Guy with a check mark, not real.
Not
That's
real,
fake.
not the real one. Yeah, no, I know. And I do apologize for signing up for that account and going around and asking people to send me money. But yeah, no, I'll stop that. But
Well, I mean, as long as you set up like a convincing Telegram, YouTube won't have any problems with you scamming my followers either.
I've been getting a lot of those lately. Actually, the last week or so, I've had an uptick in some of
I
those,
just purged
and they're
another
getting
group of them.
creative now. It's no longer
Yeah.
the click the link above. They're going with some
Hmm.
kind of a poetic or some kind of a like a quote of some sort, but their
Yeah.
name is the actual thing. So as you're reading it, your
Hmm.
eye goes straight into it, and you're like, "Wow, that's a cool quote," and you're like, "Oh crap, it's spam." And I'm like,
Yep.
now I'm like, "Yeah."
And
So
they
they're getting
bury it like
creative.
several layers deep in conversations too. Like
Yeah.
all
Hmm.
of it has been totally weaponized, and I've been super frustrated because YouTube has not given us any better tools
Yeah.
to get rid of this. And especially if
Because
anyone's
you
in
can't
the
block
chat and you
names. Yeah, sorry.
nope.
The keyword blocker doesn't go in the names. It only goes in the text. They're getting smarter. They're getting
And
smarter.
so it's always a huge kindness or a huge help. I mean, let us know if you see it, but then also to report it on your side too, because YouTube won't take action unless there's like multiple reports.
Yeah.
The very first channel that started pulling that scam on me is still around. It's
Oh crap.
still an active channel. They just keep changing the name
On the
and
channel.
then doing new scams. And YouTube won't pull the channel. I mean, again, that to me seems like the basic level of defense. Like this has only existed and has been reported
Hmm.
multiple times for trying to scam people.
Yeah.
Nuke the channel, but they keep letting it operate. It's still been the most frustrating where Twitter has been more responsive to scam impersonators. Facebook sent me an email saying there's nothing we can do, and then the next day that channel was eradicated. So the automated process of like, oh, we can't help you, kicked in, but then they actually did enforce their terms of service. They just didn't tell me about it.
It must that channel or that account must have violated something else. It may not have been the same, but
Well,
at least other people are reporting it. So yeah.
but yeah, I mean, again, it's like the the organization that should be the best at this is Google.
Yeah.
And so far, they have absolutely been the worst at helping us to maintain a better platform of communication for our viewers and our subscribers. And it's been
It's harder
very
and harder. Yeah.
disappointing. Yeah.
No, I mean,
So
don't get me wrong.
let's talk about more fun stuff though. I can tackle that for 2 hours or 3 hours on my Monday morning show and get all
Well, you covered
political
a
and
lot on
stuff.
your Monday morning show. You were
It
talking
was a
about a lot of
3 hour
cool.
show.
Absolutely. I was like, dude, no, I hit it up on I was walking between buildings and I finally was able to pull it up and I was like, I dropped one comment in there and I'm like, dude, he's still going. I was like, okay. It's definitely a long one, but it's when there's a lot of stuff to cover, it's always hard to kind of just jump
Yeah.
in and jump out. But yes. Mastodon verification using website makes a lot of sense. Farhan is saying, and one can impersonate. Anyone can impersonate any person with a Twitter blue. And I will say, just because a lot of people there's a whole bunch of controversy on and whatever. Before the whole thing was going to be going away, I needed the edit function on Twitter, and I did pay for a 1 year subscription. So just so you know,
Hmm.
reason why you see a blue on my account, and I don't really comment, not because I'm a supporter of the blue, but I needed the edit function. That was the only way to get it,
Yeah.
and then that morphed into, now you can have the two-factor authentication, and now you can have the whole bunch of
You
people.
know what
So
has a really good edit function and gives you better microblogging capabilities is Mastodon,
you have to
and it's
think.
free.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't
No,
have
I
to
know,
pay
and
for
I'm trying to get
something that should have
my feet in
been.
there. I
Yeah,
definitely want to get my feet in there and move on. I think for me right now,
I don't know. Between the
with
two of us, we could probably shift the Android conversation by like 20% on if you
just get
track
it,
like Android hashtags,
yeah,
like how many people post per server about topics related to Android. We could just the two of us.
just to hang, yeah, just have conversations back and forth. And I think what we need to do though is we seriously
Right.
need to come up with a good beef, and we need to make it into
Oh
sides.
yeah, the drama.
Yeah, the drama is what gets people in. Like
TK Bay
I
is
say some
a
shit
big
about
stinky head. And what's
Juan.
up with his glasses?
Ah, crap.
Oh, snap. I
Uh,
went there.
I'm gonna have to take off these glasses now. No, these glasses are weird. Like I don't even know how I got these glasses. Seriously, it was I'm trying to remember. Oh no. It was a sponsored video on a glasses home kit that you're able to use an app that had like a testing device that worked with your Android device, and you're able to
Hmm.
basically do your home test. So I ordered the glasses from them, but at the time, all I cared for was just to see how the vision was. Never really bothered with the whole design and everything. So they work.
Yeah.
the prescription's not the current prescription, but because they're too tight, after a while, it just creates a headache,
Oh yeah.
and it has a weird, I want to say, warping effect. Like I can see, I
Oh
know
yeah.
how things are supposed to
Well,
look like
yeah.
through my glasses. Yeah.
If it's kind of squeezing the sides of your head, then it's not really the right fit, which means even if it was the right prescription, it would still be kind of changing the optical characteristics of the lens on your
Yeah,
face.
and I
So
should have paid more
that's
attention to
tough.
the sides of the frame at the time, but
Yeah,
so
you
long
got a big head
story.
like me.
Yeah, but I mean, do you have butterfingers like mine, breaking
No,
glasses just
I
by
have
cleaning them?
little hobbit hands, but I got a big old head. So
Well, welcome to the Stum Get. No, sorry, I'm not turning into that show. But no, I think we should dive in real quick with, for me at least, the biggest news of this week, if nothing else. I mean, there are a whole bunch of different news. Google decided to unveil, and I want to touch on this mostly because it's featuring something that we both enjoy, and I'll talk about that a little bit. But
Mhm.
Google decided not to wait to. I mean, obviously they're going to talk about it on May 10th. So May 10th next week, if you guys are not aware, Google I/O 2023 will be held. There is like a semi-hybrid, semi in person. Some people are going, some people are not. I'm not going to get into that conversation, but there is going to be a crowd sitting there more so than years before. But the biggest thing is they're teasing us, or they gave us a teaser of the Pixel Fold, a foldable device that we thought was going to come out last year. We've heard about it, we've talked about it for many years. And the teaser itself obviously shows the folding. This is no longer that leak that we saw a week or so ago where it was a blurred view of the main screen. This is actually the phone folding and unfolding. Surprisingly showing a February date. I don't know why that was the date that they decided to show there. But yeah, so this is the video that Juan's posting for us right now. I don't know if we can make it.
Just on their
Okay.
Twitter.
Yeah,
I don't think
they
I can
posted it
make the
straight up.
Twitter any bigger.
I think it's on the
Let's
bottom
see.
right. No. The video itself has an expansion button. Yeah.
Oh, it does. Okay, it expands. There we
Voila,
go.
a ba boom. So as you can see on the back, it kind of looks like a Pixel 7 Pro, but on the sides when it opens, it kind of looks like an Oppo Find N2 Fold.
Yeah.
Like and they went in with that, which really blows my mind because that is the right form factor, exactly how we had it with the Surface Duo and the Duo 2.
Closer to the Surface Duo. I was just gonna
Exactly.
say
That
I want it to open in that broader. I don't
absolutely.
want it to be portrait for a
Yeah.
4x3 ish tablet.
You don't
I
have to
want it to
open
be
and then go
landscape.
sideways the whole time every single
Every
time you
time I
want to use it.
did, like when I was rocking the Fold, every single time I opened it, I had to rotate 90 degrees because that's the orientation that I wanted those apps
You
to
open and
look
you
like.
turn.
I
Slash
know,
Samsung. Just kidding.
every time.
You open and you turn.
So first of all, I think I don't know if anyone else in the chat here is feeling the same here,
This is the right
but
form.
I'm really excited that The Verge, because remember they were very disappointed in how
Mhm.
thin the bezels were on the OnePlus Pad. So
Oh my
this
god.
should make them really happy that we've got some good practical bezel space. I am
I
positive that tech outlets like The Verge won't move the goalposts to
no.
find some fault with this design because they've always been very consistent and fair about their criticisms with things like aesthetics and bezel size. So
No,
we
no.
should absolutely be excited to see what they have to say, how happy they are that there is a practical bezel space for you to hold the Pixel Fold well.
Exactly. And I think so, apart from the design, I think my biggest concern right now, or my biggest approach to it, obviously we can see the UI. There is a tablet UI now for Android 13.1, or actually I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if it is running 14 or essentially 13, but depending on the version, but it is a tablet UI.
Yeah.
The display on the outside is more functional. It is absolutely the right form factor to actually use it. It's not that narrow display that we see on.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I would probably say only the Fold. Fold is the only one that actually gets it. So Samsung's the only one that keeps doing that narrow display.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else, like Honor, even Huawei, that already kind of made the external display functional.
Yeah.
And even when we talk about like Vivo, Xiaomi, everybody's made that display work. And I feel like Oppo, for me at least, and again with the Duo, that form factor just meets the experience. You open it up, you're right into a tablet experience, which is what this is
Yeah.
supposed to be. It's a phone and a tablet. And it's exciting, and we're going to learn more about it next week. Obviously, more than likely, it'll be running a Tensor processor, as you can imagine. This is a Pixel, so no
Yeah.
surprise there. But would it be the G3 or would it be the G2? Debatable. I probably
Yeah.
think I think it's an
I
announcement.
think I think we'll my estimate, my
Mhm.
guess. I feel like Google will probably lean on Tensor 2
Hmm.
for tablets, and this is a folding tablet that turns into a phone.
Yeah.
That's my guess. I think they've
Hmm.
had more manufacturing experience. I think they've had more fab experience with Samsung.
Yeah.
So the Tensor 2 is pretty mature at this point. It helps keep their manufacturing costs in check. They're not having to develop new for the frame of this phone, also being a really aggressive departure from Google's hardware team.
Yeah.
That's my estimate. I'm actually kind of hoping that Android 14 is not a substantial update. We went through
We
so many
haven't, yeah,
teething pains from
we haven't been
Android
going
12.
with substantial quite a bit lately. Last couple of updates
Yeah,
have been more like
I really just
improvements
need
and
them
fine
to
tuning.
refine the larger screen experience,
Hmm.
to kind of polish up some of those interactions and gestures. And really, I'd much rather have a less exciting year, but with more stable hardware. I mean, more stable software.
Yeah.
Because and I think a lot of us would
Well,
be kind of in the same boat here. I'm kind of tired of exciting new, but it
mhm.
requires 2 months of updates before it's really in a good daily driver
Like when you're
kind of
always at the
shape.
bleeding edge and you're always having to be the beta tester for every single
I
thing that comes out. You're
know.
like, I just
Now,
want it to work.
we're
No, I know,
here
I know.
for that. That's
Yeah,
what
I
we
know.
do.
I
But
was like,
sometimes it's nice when you get it and you're like, oh,
it
oh,
just
this
works.
this this is working well. Because even
Yeah.
Apple can't lay claim to that. It always used to be like iOS is so much better polished at launch, and
Yeah.
man,
No.
last couple years of iOS launch software has been just as twitchy, just as finicky
Yeah,
as
yeah.
some of our more aggressive Android experiments. So I'm really hoping Android 14 is a like another TikTok step from 12 to 12L to 13 to this, like, technically it's 13.5 that we're kind of running on some of our tablets, to then
Mhm.
14 iterative. I really
I hope
want
so.
iterative. And then also, we know Pixel Fold won't be able to survive early teething pains like Samsung can. You have an army of Samsung sycophants that are like, oh, but they update and it'll get better and they'll polish it up and everything's going to be fine.
Oh,
And Pixel
yeah, yeah.
Fold,
I could
I
see that.
used it on pre-embargo software a month before consumers could get their hands on it, and I saw a glitch. You should not buy this.
There is going to, yeah, I'm like in my mind, I'm laughing. It's like a never-ending continuing cycle. Every time something comes out, there's always this. And not to kind of point out something, but like I put out a video yesterday on a phone that just got released, and it was an unboxing and initial impressions video. I
Mm-hmm.
got a comment, basically saying, "Well, you obviously got the phone. This is an unbiased review. I don't know if I should believe." And I'm like, dude, the title says unboxing. This was not a review. It's a walkthrough of features at best. I was not
Yeah.
reviewing it. I did not say this was the best thing since sliced
Reading
bread.
comprehension on angry YouTube commenters
I
is at an
just like, how
all-time
did you
low.
jump straight into that? Like, read the title. Even if you didn't watch the video, read the
Yeah.
title. It says unboxing the Moto G Stylus. Anyways, um, look, I'll say this. Um, we're starting to see foldables. This is kind of like an EV conversation. Every company right now is basically putting their hand into the foldable experience. Obviously, the foldable
Mm-hmm.
market is not going away. It's not a fad that was going to come in and just swoop out like 3D displays and so on. The approach isn't anymore about hardware. It's really about software,
Mm-hmm.
right? We have
Yeah.
different form factors. You can pick and choose whatever team you want to play with, but at the end of the day, can we get the right formatting, the apps to display correctly, be it on the whichever form factor you decide to go with? It's going to have to come down to app support. Like, for the love of God, Instagram needs to just shift. I mean, even not just Android thing. Instagram needs to start supporting other form factors than smartphones, because even on
Yeah.
iPad, it looks horrible.
It looks pretty bad, but again,
Yeah,
you'll have people that kind of contort. Well, but I mean, it runs smoother, and I like Instagram, and I focus on one photo at a time on my iPad, and you'll have like tech commentators on Twitter. Like, there was a kerfluffle with someone that I feel is not a very earnest contributor to a lot of tech conversations, freaking out about Android tablets because I loaded the Twitter app and it looks like garbage on this Android tablet. And you're like, but that's not an Android tablet thing. That's a developer thing. And I think we've been long overdue
hmm,
some examination of how we use mobile software, because for a
yeah,
lot of those experiences I'd rather go through a browser.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, you will probably have a better
Firefox.
experience. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Even Twitter on, I would probably say I was on the OnePlus Pad, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. You could definitely do the web app, which works a little bit better and does
Yeah.
better formatting on especially when you're using it more of a landscape experience.
For a
I mean,
lot of
portrait
these,
works pretty much the same. Yeah.
even for some of the apps that are well polished, I like the browser experience, like YouTube.
Hmm.
I actually prefer the YouTube experience going through a browser now than going through the dedicated YouTube app. So I want to cover this. From Haas Sam, are you guys concerned about Tensor 2 performance in the Fold? Thanks. Um, I'm a little concerned, but I'd like to hear your thoughts first, TK, because I think you do a better job of tackling some of like the gaming conversation.
Yeah.
And that is an area where Tensor hasn't been quite as competitive as like MediaTek or Qualcomm.
It's
So,
this is why I was at the beginning when we said, do I think it's coming in with the G3, or is it going to come with Tensor 2, 2 or 3, kind of
mhm,
the approach to the processor? I think from where we started with the Tensor 2 all the way to where we are now,
mhm,
and the reality is we've had some improvements. Performance has gotten better. Battery life hasn't been the best, and that's
yeah,
also I'm worried about. I mean, obviously. Actually, I can't say obviously. I'm hoping they're going to be putting a 5,000 plus battery in there. I was going to say
yeah,
obviously because that doesn't matter. It's really what they're able to fit in there and make work. I'm a little bit concerned. I'm not worried too much as far as performance. I feel like for the most part, it should be able to handle all of the functionalities. I mean, I
yeah,
haven't had a single app, just basically bork on me on anything that I've used it on the Pixel. But I will say that battery life has been a concern. My Pixel 7 Pro doesn't last as long as
yeah.
some of the other devices, and
That's my performance concern. Yeah,
yeah,
is not just
and I'm like this little baby right here. Thing just lasts forever.
yeah,
But this
it's
is Xiaomi,
Xiaomi.
like and surprisingly getting quite a few updates. Like, I mean, oh my god, it's weird. Chinese phones that are made for the Chinese
Chinese
market,
moms.
yeah, get so many updates, so many
Yeah.
fixes. Like again, our buddy
Well,
with the X90 Pro was.
save that. We'll
We'll
cover
talk.
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We're going to talk about that. But
But
I agree with you because I feel one of the major things that from having used the Pixel and how well the Pixel has
yeah,
matured,
it's absolutely it's
it's the
fantastic.
Samsung components that give me the most worry. It's not
Yeah,
just Tensor. What I'm really concerned about are the thermals on Samsung's radios. That
they've improved the
modem
radios,
is
but I
what
feel like
cooked
that
your
improvement.
phone when you were trying to do eSIM,
Yeah. Well,
and I
because I
have
was
the
also
same
trying to
experiences.
exactly. I was on the show floor. I could not get
Yeah,
through the day with a battery. Um, what they ended up doing is, obviously, if you're not familiar, the Pixel 6 Pro had radio issues. There was connectivity issues a lot. That was one of the things that people were aware of on the
the
Pixel
big
6
one of the
Pro.
big updates was
Yeah.
Samsung improving their own radio, which is still like a generation behind MediaTek in my
Well,
opinion,
absolutely.
and that's a generation behind
Behind
Qualcomm
Qualcomm. I was about to say,
in
it's like
Radio Tech.
if you take the cadence in there, you're far behind,
Yeah.
my friend. So if they do go with this existing setup that we have, and obviously there could be a cost effect part of it. Obviously they've had it. They have the SoC that's been there. It's been tested and optimized since the launch of the 7 Pro. I think it makes
Hmm.
sense, but it also brings in with it the growing pains of what we get there. Because if you're going with a 5,000 milliampere battery, which is typical to these foldable devices, they don't typically go much higher. I mean, literally
Yeah.
only ROG goes to 6,000 on a smartphone, and that's because it has the
Yeah.
space
And you're driving a bigger display when you have it open.
and the ability, or even possibly two displays, depending on the functionality that you're doing. If you're taking video with the front and the back display, you could potentially be running even more. So it is a concern for me. That would be my biggest thing. Optimizations from 14, I'm hoping will
Yeah.
fix some of that. I honestly don't think they're
But
launching the
there's
phone next week. I think this is more of a,
yeah,
hey, kind of
this
like
is the
what they've done in the
tease
past.
and
Yeah, this is
yeah.
absolutely the tease. They're going to show us a little bit more info, and it'll be like more to come in September or October or November or
And
whatever.
again, a lot of this is also coming down to price. Where I'm still really cold on foldables, like I got my duos because they were just so
So cool.
it-
So
no,
good.
no, no. They
So
were
they're
just.
right.
I almost want to use a word like absurd. They're almost such absurd sci-fi experimental devices that I needed to have them. But my recommendations
They look
for
like they're from
duos
Star
were
Trek. Just say it. They look like they just came out of
Oh, they
Star
do. They
Trek.
look like pads. They're
Exactly,
amazing.
exactly, exactly. Come on,
But
yeah, yeah.
if you caught my enthusiasm on my duo videos, my recommendations were very targeted at a very specific kind of multitasking tablet user.
Absolutely. No,
That's
no.
like 10 people, and like three of them live in Los Angeles.
Angeles. I'm like, yeah, I get it.
But I've been really cold because we also got to play with the OnePlus Pad over
Which we
these
want to
last
talk
couple
about.
weeks,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I love the idea of devices that can displace others. I love it when my
Okay.
phone can minimize how much I need to turn to a laptop or another computer.
Yeah.
But if you're telling me that it's an Android-y tablet experience with an Android-y phone experience, I have a hard time looking at one folding tablet that's more fragile versus a separate phone and a separate tablet that are going to be less expensive and deliver similar performance. Because then
Mhm.
I've got a larger screen experience that doesn't kill the battery on my communications device, and I have a communications device that can tether to my larger screen.
Yep.
So I understand where people are getting really excited. Foldables are new. This is a form factor. This is interesting. It's something fresh for the conversation. But from practicality, I have been very cold on a more fragile, less durable, um, sort of in some ways, like especially when I was playing with the Z Fold, it felt like kind of the worst of both worlds
Yeah.
from a phone and a tablet having a baby. So I'm really anxious there. I do want to hit just one other quick question and just a fast reply.
Cool.
Michael Peppertech asking, do we have any idea if tensor in a fold or a tablet is going to be different than the tensor of the phones? More surface area for cooling, allowing for higher clock speeds or maintaining performance. My estimate, and again, this is my unlearned guess. This is someone where like Dr. Ian would probably have a more learned opinion,
Hmm.
but my hypothesis is you will be able to drive tensor in a tablet like that. You can drive it harder because that's what
Yeah.
we saw on the OnePlus pad. The
I was
OnePlus
about I
pad,
was about to say right there. Yeah, we went to the
that
9000. It
Dimensity 9000 performs better in that tablet than it does in phones.
This is not
But
working. Sorry.
I
Yeah.
don't believe we're going to see that in a fold because you really don't have more surface area for cooling in a foldable because the chip is going to be on one half of the fold.
That's
So you
true.
actually, in some ways, have less area to expel heat and to deal with the thermals on a device like that.
It's
So
true.
I'll be very curious if they go Tensor 2. My hypothesis is that a Pixel 7 Pro will probably be able to outperform a Pixel Foldable in things like heavier lifting, graphics, in video rendering,
Yeah.
in that kind of work, and in the work that you would really want to throw to a larger screen. I'm anxious again. I believe the Pixel 7 will probably pace it or outperform it. Now, if they go Tensor G3, then all bets are off. We have
all
no
all
idea what
all
that's
that
going to
stuff
look
is out
like
the door.
until, yeah.
Exactly, and how they do it. Well, it's because, like I said, the components that they're using is even if they have a different or bigger surface area. I mean, I think the OnePlus Pad does have that bigger surface area. It is a
Yeah, it's an
bigger.
11.6-inch screen. Yeah.
Absolutely. It does also benefit from, I think it's just the placement of where the battery cells are sitting and where the GPU and the CPU
Sure.
are sitting, which also will
But that's
enable
why
us
I
to have
think
that.
you have that surface area, and I bet you that
Mhm.
Google isn't going to try to go thinnest possible tablet on their
No,
tablet.
not on,
And in
not
that
not
you
on their
have even
first. Yeah.
more room to try and play with how do you mount this equipment? How do you structure these internals? Where do you organize all this stuff so that you can get that better thermal performance? And if we
I
can
hope so.
drive a
Yeah.
Tensor G2 even a little bit harder, this thing is already a monster when it comes to chewing up image data.
Hmm.
It is. It is still the fastest video rendering device that on the market today.
Okay.
I ran it up against this, Qualcomm for Snapdragon for Samsung Note 23, and the Note 23 got really close, but it could not beat it in any of my trickier video rendering and editing tests. I mean, one of the tests came to like it was a 3 or 4 tenths of a second, but the Pixel 7 Pro with its miserable Antutu scores still beat out this newest Note 23. So this is a really interesting
Hmm.
silicon fight that until we can see a few more examples in different form factors, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to predict what this might look like, but my hypothesis is tablet will run better, foldable might run worse.
Yeah. No, no. And I think that the biggest thing for us right now, this is Google's first foray into the foldable. This is not their I mean, they're trying to go back with the tablet, and that's also going to be covered as well at
Yeah.
next week. So there's a lot of larger displays. This is getting me excited for Google because they're
Yeah.
starting to go back to larger form factor. But the sad part is, if Android desktop is not in anywhere of those conversations, I feel like we're missing a big
But
component in there
but look
that
at
they're
look
just
at like an Android tablet at like 599
yeah
and a Pixel 7. Not even like maybe not even a Pixel 7 Pro, but like a Pixel 7 and an
at five
Android
ninety nine.
tablet, both of them roughly between $600 and $700. I'm not confident that Google can launch a foldable under 1400. So
No, no. I
what
actually
what
that was the
what
next
do
thing I was going to
we
ask you. It's like, where did you feel like the price point's going to be? I feel like this is closer to the 1500 than it is to
I
that
think so.
$1,000
And
price
and
tag.
I kind of
Yeah,
hope that Google's only argument isn't we can make it cheaper and try and devalue the emerging market for foldables because we know Apple will come in here and charge like 2500.
yeah.
And
No,
then
no.
consumers are going to go, "Oh, but I don't want one of those cheap Androids. Androids are for poor people. I want the gooder foldable, so I'll get the phone that just works." And you're
I
like, every
yeah.
time we do that sort of descent to the lowest common denominator, I don't want Google to be responsible for wrecking a market before it really has found its legs yet.
I'm with you.
So as much as it sucks to say, because I obviously we all want tech to be as cheap as we can possibly get
No,
it.
we want it affordable and
I
we
feel
want
like
it to be available to the masses. Obviously, that's always our
but I
biggest
feel
thing
like
about it. Yeah,
the business side of this, if we want foldables to really find their niche and to find their market and to be desirable, like the
yeah.
consumer psychology where people desire them and they're having fun showing them off and they're interesting to talk about, they can't be cheap.
No.
And that's just the bummer of this conversation. So if Google finds a way to make this 999, cool, that'll be fun, but I think it's going to actually do a disservice to the long-term health of this potential market. I hate sounding like the snob, like, oh, they need to be expensive,
No, no, no.
but they kind of need to be profitable. And if you can't make
Google.
profits on these things, then you're
No, no,
screwed.
absolutely. And I'll say this mostly because I don't want to, obviously too long on this, but Google didn't reach the 899 price point and even with the 599 price point that we had with the Pixel 5 till much, much later in the game. The first few generations of their devices that they went through, it was more of an experimentation and understanding where's the need. The Pixel Fold will not sell as many as the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro. Absolutely. And even if they try to put as much money in the campaign on that side, the form factor still hasn't reached prime time. Like you go into smartphone device, stores right now. The only one that you probably see on the show floor right now, obviously, is the foldable from Samsung because nobody
Yeah.
has one. Google, I think, is jumping into it because they realize everybody has it. And yeah, I'm not saying they're coming late to the game, but the reality is, they're coming in after learning from other people's, I would say, trials and tribulation kind of thing. So I have good hope for how this is going to function. I just don't think it's going to be the hit that it's going to be because it is going to have to go through growing pains. The UI element, the
Yeah.
changes that they're trying to bring in here. This is not tablet mode. This is phone mode. This is a phone display that it has to conform to
Hmm.
folding capabilities. So we knew they supported it. They started working on it. I feel like at even at $1,300, $1,400, depending on whichever format they're going, I feel like TCL is the company if they were going to try to make it more affordable,
Yeah,
like what
but
we
we
saw
saw
with
even they
Chicago.
kind of fell apart on this.
Yeah,
They
they
were
couldn't.
looking at aggressively putting out a flip style phone, and the
Yeah,
money doesn't make
it
sense.
it's tough. Yeah, exactly. It's a loss. It's such a loss for a company to go in with it right now
Oh yeah.
because the sales are not there. This is again, it's a de facto of where are the consumers putting their dollars? They're putting their dollars in the G series. They're putting their dollars in the A series, the more budget side, the mid range
Well,
devices that are going in.
and the scary thing is, again, this is a story we'll dig into a little bit deeper. We don't want to spend a lot of time on this too because
Oh
we
yeah,
actually
sorry.
do have to kind of keep our podcast a little bit more on the rails this week.
Yeah, so sorry.
Apple's average selling price is now almost $1,000. The average sales
Surprise.
price is closing in on $1,000. The average sales price of a Samsung is under 400, or it might have just broken 400.
Oh, even
So
even
when
if it
we
is
talk
closer to
about
500, it's still
no, no,
way
no.
south
It's
of where they're.
definitely under 500. I
Yeah, yeah.
for a while there, it was under 300. The
Oh
average
crap.
sales price of a Samsung was like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
280 or something. But that's what we mean when we talk about like the desirability and the consumer psychology. We have lost the hearts and minds of North American consumers for premium Android. That
Yeah.
market really doesn't exist. And generationally, we're seeing overwhelmingly younger consumers find Apple products way more desirable. So I understand this rush, like, hey, let's get foldables out there, let's do something exciting.
Yeah.
But to me, this is likely to cause as many issues as it will solve. And it only
Yeah.
takes someone like busting the plastic screen on their foldable once to declare this a gimmick that they'll never revisit. The repairability of these is going to matter in a climate
It,
where people are trying to
yeah.
hold on to their products for over 3 years now. The average length of time that someone owns a phone is now like up to 29 or almost 30 months, depending on what analyst you listen to, which
Hmm.
means more people are trying to reach 3 years than are trying to flip their phone every 18 months. So we know there's a consumer trend towards more refurbs, more used devices, finding lower prices on products that have some kind of certification, but they're older.
Hmm.
This is a bad market to make a misstep with an emerging category. So we've got to be really careful about setting the right expectations. And I
Hmm.
don't think Tech YouTube really has the fortitude for this conversation. I think a lot of people are going to be led astray by hype and
Yeah.
by YouTube monetization algorithms. And in the long term, that's really going to hurt our hobby. Those of us who are here in this chat right now, tech is a lifestyle and a hobby. We're not,
Absolutely.
I mean, we use these things as our daily communicators and practical devices, but we have fun just talking about the device.
Hmm.
And that's not common for consumers. They don't care about the device beyond just the emotional high of buying something new. Then they do things on the device, and that's what they care about. So we've got to be really precious with this conversation because I think it's
I,
going to bite us in the ass.
Absolutely, and well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what they come up with next week. I'm excited to see about some of the other announcements they're going to go through there. Of course, with the Pixel tablet, um,
Mm-hmm.
slash Google Home or Nest Home Max new
Yeah.
versions is going to be coming out as
Well,
well.
and especially with all the shakeup with Nest products too,
I know it's like
and
every year.
smart screens and displays.
Absolutely, and don't get me wrong, I like my Nest Home Max that I have in the kitchen. That works perfectly for me. I'm a little bit confused as to what the tablet's going to function other than being a personal device. That's something that you put in
Hmm.
your office because as a
Well, I
shared
want to use
device in a
that
communal, yeah,
because I want to transition because we both got to spend time with the OnePlus Pad,
absolutely,
and
yeah, yeah.
now I'm even a little bit more anxious about what Google can do to compete with a tablet
I
experience.
it's yeah, yeah,
The
and they
OnePlus
both come in
Pad
at a very
was
different point of view. Like OnePlus Pad's going in one direction, and the Pixel tablet is going in kind of almost like in an in between, almost like I feel like it's a step between
oh,
what a
they're
tablet would
absolutely
be.
different philosophies. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, very, very different. But um, the OnePlus Pad for me solves, or at least gives a very unique perspective to Android tablet. It's a premium tablet at its core, but it's not priced at the premium tablet tier. It's trying to hit in that middle ground of giving you the exactly that beautiful scene that we have there. It's giving you that nice functional tablet that you can take out of the dock and use it as a standard tablet while you want. If you want to be able to use it as a laptop, put it into that case, bam, you're into that laptop. There is no
It's
desktop
built way
experience.
more for mobility, and I feel
Yeah.
Pixel Tablet is going to be more for replacing a smart screen.
And I feel like that's where the approach is. It's going to be that smart screen that you can take with you to the couch, but it's not going to be a smart screen. It stops being a smart screen when it leaves the dock. You know what I mean? Like it becomes that tablet.
Mhm.
It's that transformer thing that, we are going to have to figure, do I need a smart screen or do I need a tablet? I don't think those two people exist that will basically are considering a smart screen and a tablet at the same time. But I feel like the OnePlus Pad does the job very nicely. I'm going to say that I enjoyed traveling with this at least a couple of times to be able to see how does it
Yeah,
work on a plane, how does it work, at a
I
hotel,
took
at
it
an
out to a
airport and
cafe
stuff.
just to do a little writing, and it's,
Yeah.
I mean, it achieves that kind of mobile laptop replacement
Yeah.
computing
Hmm.
really well.
It
I'm
for
very
me
impressed with.
solved a few sadly kind of like weird things. Okay, so I will say this: it's airplane certified because well, not certified. It's a okay for the airplane, and I'll
Hey,
say that as
hey,
yeah.
hey,
Not
hey,
only
airplane A
does it
OK.
a okay from TK. Hey, yeah, no, okay, forget about it.
Bay.
Hey, anyway, I need to stop. Sorry, I'm gonna keep going with the A for 20 minutes.
Stefan says
Hey.
A.
And I'm gonna find it there. It fits on the little tray behind the table. But what I loved it about it at least on United flights, because I haven't been on that many others. They have this new area where they put the magazines at the top, which I always love doing that
Yeah.
with the tablets. So I keep it in the folio, open up the folio, put it in the keyboard inside of the case, and now it becomes a full display in front of me that I'm able to use the pen on if I want to, or even just enjoy content with the buds or something like that. So
Yeah.
a lot of nice things to say basically about it. The price point is still $479. They're still running a promotion right now where it's no longer you can get free accessories, but at least a discounted price. And if you're a student, there's also a discounted price for students as well, which is really nice. And
Hmm.
man, this is very nice footage, man. I appreciate it. Can you do some of my B-rolls next time?
it's
So,
it's
like
like the one thing I'm kind of okay at is like shooting some good close-up photography on gadgets.
some
I'm
gadget
not even
guy
great
and
at
some
it. It's like I'm
photography
kind
guy.
of, the stylus. Look at the little animation, and that's cute.
No, I know.
No, so
And that
this
magnet is
is
really good, by the way. For anybody that's
it's
considering this,
so solid.
it stayed on the tablet going in and out of my backpack through
Oh yeah.
when I'm traveling in and out, and never once fell off. Like I was like, oh my God, never lost it. It's really
So
nice. So
I loved when people tried to correct me in my video because I said this is the most elegant
mhm.
example of doing a stylus. This is more elegant than anything Apple has ever done.
Yeah.
Immediately, I got Apple's done magnetic charging. You shouldn't say that Apple hasn't done that. And I didn't say that they didn't do magnetic charging. I
I
said that
got to
this was
adjust
the
the
most elegant
spectacles. Yeah, yeah.
example of it because it's one of the other things that I really like about just the tablet's frame
Hmm.
is that the section that they've carved out for where that little stylus sits
Hmm.
is the flattest edge. So when you pick it up, your fingers immediately find
The spot.
orientation.
Hmm.
Yeah. So you know which side is up and sideways. And it's silly, but that kind of ergonomic touch, where I know it was practically built to make a charging solution,
Hmm.
a little wireless inductive charger for the stylus, contributed to the overall use of the tablet in a way that I thought was really savvy.
Yeah.
So my experiences on the OnePlus Pad were overwhelmingly positive considering the price to performance ratio. I
Yeah.
kind of feel if you wanted to go fancier, you could go to like a Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra. That is
Yeah.
a fancier, more professional, probably nicer built, and it has a nicer display. But anything sub 500 in Android land, I don't think we've seen competition like this. So I was really
No.
frustrated with like the editorials on people that were complaining about the LCD display
Yeah.
because it's a great screen. I prefer OLED. I would rather have an OLED, but
Hmm.
there's no point in hating on LCD. LCD is really good, and especially LCD at 144 hertz.
I was about to say,
Um,
what tablet do you know on the market right now that runs 144 hertz on the display? That's the thing that you need to keep in mind is
the
the technology that
the
they're
the
pushing here.
the 20 hertz difference. I'll give people the nod if we want to say like if all you care about is OLED, go get the Lenovo.
Yeah.
Great. You can find it for like 300 bucks. Okay? That is awesome. If you care about making a compromise from OLED to LCD, but then
Hmm.
getting crazy fast charging, 144 hertz,
Yep.
a
64-watt
two
and 104.
generation more powerful SoC,
Yep.
and the promise of significantly longer software updates, then that's where the OnePlus Pad makes sense. And I loved it because someone else like was in my comments saying, "Oh, you can get an iPad 10th Gen even cheaper." All right. Uh,
Okay.
okay. No. You're right. An iPad 10th Gen with no
We should make a
the
video.
person
We should make a
I
video titled specifically, "Can you find something better than this that is cheaper?" And see just all the comments in there. Don't even make a video. Say, "Here it is."
so it started as part of a conversation where people were complaining about the LCD
Yeah.
on the OnePlus Pad, and then someone else was like, "Yeah, this screen is terrible. It's like the worst screen that's ever been made." Because some tech outlet wrote a headline. I didn't know they made screens this bad, and you're like, "That's a stupid rage bait."
Yeah.
But the person's justification was you could get an iPad 10th gen for less. It's like $30 cheaper than the OnePlus Pad. It's got a lower resolution, 60 hertz display. So already LCD to LCD, this thing's curb stomping an iPad 10th gen.
Yeah.
It's using one of the, I want to say it's an A14, which
10th
the
gen would have
Dimensity
been.
9000 is neck and neck, so you're not getting a performance advantage out of the iPad 10th gen.
Mhm.
That cheaper starting price comes with 64 gig of storage, not 128. I mean, it's like, sure, for $30 more, I feel pretty good. And then if you do opt for something like the Stylus, man, charging an iPad pencil on a 10th gen iPad
Through
is
the actual
super
charging
dumb.
port. Yeah, I know.
It's
It's an
so
earlier.
dumb. Whereas
It's
this is the magnetic stick that's going to stick onto it. So again, I feel like people love hating on OnePlus, but then never acknowledging the price to performance ratio. That
it's one of
this
the things
tablet is
I
punching above its
really.
price tag.
Oh no, no, absolutely. But it is also one of the reasons why I'm so glad that we have that OnePlus and Oppo collaboration and working together in here, because this is where we start getting some of the Oppo tech coming into us. You know, even if it is labeled as a OnePlus, don't get me wrong. This many people have drawn the conclusion. This is essentially the same the Oppo Pad 2 that
Well, I mean, as you
Oppo
can see
released.
in this video that I'm showing right here, where I'm kind of got it lit well, like
Yeah.
just how awful the backlight bleed is. Look at this dark, crunchy, high contrast footage of Top Gun, and it just makes me want to throw up in my mouth.
Yeah, John
Seeing this
Hamm.
on the
No, that
OnePlus
wasn't John.
pad,
Was
I
that
mean,
John Hamm in there? Yeah,
yeah,
I think
John
so.
Hamm
Yeah. Sorry.
in Maverick, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
exactly. No,
just
no.
look at that. That looks so. I can't believe they still make screens that look this bad.
I
I mean, it's
They don't
pretty
know how
much
to
the
calibrate
worst.
blue, man. That's just one of those biggest things. You know,
I
it's
mean,
not
look at
made
the.
for
It's like
under.
the whole shot here is basically just black and blue high contrast. So obviously, OnePlus sucks.
It's a tough thing, but it took us a while to get to, obviously appreciate people's comment and why we should go for a 10th gen iPad. No, I think I may have a 10th gen. Actually, I own one iPad. It's sitting here, it hasn't been charged, and the pen sits on top because every time I want to use the pen with it, if I ever do decide to charge it
It's
first,
dead.
it's dead. And I also have to
Yeah.
charge the tablet, wait for the tablet to go all the way, and then put it in, as opposed to being able to charge both at the same time. No, I mean, look,
It's also my biggest complaint with like the Surface Duo is they
yeah.
don't have a way to charge the Surface Pen unless you buy the Duo 2 with that stupid bumper case. And OnePlus has avoided all of that issue. This
They
I
took
think
their
is the
time and
most
they
elegant
came in with
way
the right approach. I feel like yes. And
to
when we're
charge
not
a
getting a
stylus, yeah.
capacitive, we're not getting just a passive, like just a touch interface, like some of the other options that we get in here, like the Stylo 2 that we get in here to be able to hit a price point. They literally hit it with the right experience, the right features.
Yeah.
And at 479, I'm not going to say that there wasn't rumors. I mean, I heard rumors before that they were combining certain things. And for pre-orders, when they did that blind deposit, for the people that
Hmm.
were able to put in there, you definitely won on that one. Obviously, you took the right bet, but you
Yeah.
had to take a substantial amount of money that not knowing how much it was going to be. Obviously, it could have been 1,000, it could have
Well,
been 500.
and they would have done the return on it or if you
Yeah,
decided to
and I
cancel
think
the
that's the
pre-order,
biggest
but
thing. Yeah, it
the
wasn't clear at the
entire
beginning.
kit, because you also would have gotten a deal on another accessory. So you could have done
50% on the
OnePlus
second one. Yeah,
Pad plus
yeah,
keyboard plus pen for like 550.
yeah.
That's insane.
That is yeah.
That was a good buy.
Get the keyboard for free as your free gift, and then pay $50 for the
50%
pen.
off. Yeah.
There's no way. I mean, try to yeah no. I will say the biggest thing that I feel like we still didn't have a chance to be able to really showcase as much is the interconnectivity between a OnePlus Pad and basically, let's say, an Oppo or a
Yeah, the
OnePlus
software
device.
wasn't ready for it.
So the
Yeah.
software wasn't ready on the OnePlus 11. We don't have it. I was able to show some of it on my side because I had the Find X6 Pro that does have the software. So I was able to show my display on it. It's a version of PC Connect, but it's basically called Pad Connect. I think that's what they changed the name to it. And
Hmm.
for me, what I really loved about it is once we do have that function fully running is the ability of sharing your internet connection, your 5G connection from your phone to your tablet. And now your tablet becomes a 5G tablet just by the virtue of having your phone in your pocket. This is where the
Hmm.
functions kind of shift, and also the ability of syncing
And just
notifications,
and
responding.
faster and easier than traditional tethering. I mean,
Oh,
again,
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
it's frustrating that we need to kind of come up with a proprietary solution for that, but
Yeah.
companies like Oppo have been building them.
They've
Like
actually
Oppo and Vivo have maintained like file transfer capabilities that I wish regular Android had not gotten rid of. I mean, some
yeah,
stuff like that is really, really helpful.
bump. That's all I have to say. But yes, and Juan's learning how to draw a banana. What are we looking? Oh, no, 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 no.
Well,
This is
it's upside
this is the
down.
enterprise. Yeah, this is the enterprise.
It's
Sorry.
not the Enterprise.
I
How
keep saying
dare
the
you?
I'm sorry. Sorry.
How very now, unfortunately, I had to flip this shot to get it to line up on my table, so it's upside down. But I was
Okay.
kind of proud of my little doodle sketch here.
Okay.
Of that's the USS Excelsior,
I was
sir.
about to
It's
say
the
Excelsior.
Excelsior. It's if you I have it on my bookshelf. If you look at like this little model of it here, I was trying to like just sort of wireframe sketch it from that angle right there. So
Okay.
it's the Excelsior. It's not the Enterprise.
I
It's
sorry.
it's the better ship.
It's the
It's the
betters.
bigger.
It's the
Yeah.
betters, the biggers, the betters for the money. That's
It's the Starfleet vessel that's worth it for the monies. Thank you very much, sir.
all of our fans wanted to know which one did you think was better for the money, the bang for the buck, and which one was, the premium ship that just gave you all the bells and whistles, the Mercedes of all these starships, yeah. For exploration purposes. Mm.
I love it.
No, no, but seriously, battery life was really nice. Connectivity
Yeah,
functionality for me was working really nice.
charging is amazing.
Charging is really good, and that was the other thing that I
Yeah.
was when we talked about the OnePlus, sorry, with the Pixel Pad, sorry, the Pixel tablet, the Pixel Fold. Oh my God, there's too many pixels, uh, too many things. I worry that we're probably going to get 30-watt charging. We're probably going to get one of the slowest charging on a
Yeah.
tablet, and people are going to jump on that and basically make it sound like this thing doesn't,
I
can't
have a
hold its own.
video coming out this afternoon looking at tablets versus student grade notebooks.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And my Surface Laptop Go 2 is a really, really nicely built student grade machine. And it
absolutely,
ships with a 39-watt charger.
absolutely. Well, actually,
So
and I like it because it
going
works
to
with
a
almost any.
67-watt charger
Yeah.
is pretty nice.
Included in the box is pretty nice also. That's the other
Yeah. Apparently not in all regions though. Apparently the
oh,
package
so the
in the
packages we got
UK,
that are not.
I got a comment from someone in the UK saying that they're not including the charger in the UK. So that
Oh,
might be one
okay.
of those transitions.
Interesting.
Like that could be one of those situations where OnePlus is starting to look at the same things that Samsung and Apple have already kind of blazed a trail on.
I always
So
find, so I'll say this: if you have a OnePlus charger from an earlier generation that maybe was one of their better chargers, that faster chargers, I really don't think that
hmm
that's a big problem. But the concern that I have with is when you get companies, and I'll touch on that because this was something that I had a chance to ask Motorola when I was visiting them a couple of weeks ago. Like an example would be here: the Moto G Stylus does not come with a charger in it. This device, it's a sub $200 phone that's supposed to be budget friendly. Why are you causing somebody to go out and buy a charger? Motorola's approach was, I mean, and I kind of agree, and I still have kind of a question on the why, but Motorola's answer was very simple. They said this runs on a 15-watt charger. It's a standard charger that we probably have 1,000 of those.
hmm
Those are the chargers that you have all around the house.
Yeah.
Including a charger in the box would produce more e-waste, and that was the approach they went with. I also
Sure.
look at it as, but what if this is somebody brand new that's never had a device before, and
Yep.
this is their first device? So you're giving them a
Well,
phone
screw
without a
them,
charger.
TK.
Yeah, it
Screw
is. It is.
them.
It is
I
what it
got
is.
mine, and now I'm pulling the ladder up behind me.
Because that's how you do it.
It's the American way.
So the approach that I look at it, especially when we're talking about it, like when for devices that use 15-watt charging, yes, maybe somehow we are maybe able to make an argument on that. But when we talk about
hmm
tablets like the OnePlus Pad, when we talk about devices, let's say like the Xiaomi 13 Pro, 13 Ultra, all of the devices that are using these proprietary fast charging technologies, not including the charger, does it this service as opposed to, especially because I'm talking about proprietary. I'm not talking PD charging. Not that you couldn't
Yeah.
charge it with a PD charger, just you're not going to get this, 80, 90, whatever,
hmm
120. It does a disservice, especially for a tablet like this out of the box. I feel like OnePlus
Well,
should at least
it
include the
introduces
charger.
consumer confusion.
Absolutely.
It makes this conversation more difficult, and it's one of the things that we're trying to prevent.
Yep.
Is like I got this thing and they said it was super fast charging, and I plugged it into my Anchor charger and it's charging slower than they said it would, and you're like,
Yeah.
I like yes, I get it, but we can't expect consumers to look at like the fine print. I mean, it's frustrating because like on the one hand, you want to say like you're going to spend this money on something, you should know what it does. You should read the manual. But on the other hand, it's
So,
like
so
they're not
some
making it easy to
exactly
figure out
till you get
what
the box.
pieces are supposed to match. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I think this is the weird thing, especially because all the content that's out on the market right now shows the tablet with a charger. And this is going to be
Yeah.
where it's even more confusing when, especially because obviously our videos are not just viewed in the U.S., but that's the biggest thing. You have to
Sure.
kind of understand and appreciate where
Only
things are.
30% of my audience is in North America. So yeah,
Yeah, we got to work
that
on those
one
numbers,
really
man.
burns me if
Yeah,
there is a regional difference like that. When I went all in on my video saying this is such a great perk of the tablet is that you get the fast charger in the box, except for the whole rest of the planet.
I feel what I would probably say is my hope is that even if it is included, maybe they'll combo it as a basically an accessory that you automatically get, or get a free charger
Yeah.
with it, or something to the effect. But I'll double check on that on my end, and if it is, I'll be able to hopefully I'll post something on that. It is interesting though, because everybody that got it, even I think I want to say even the European reviewers still got a charger in their box.
Yeah.
But I want to say full disclosure on my side, my unit shipped from China, so I didn't get it from the U.S. side. So I'm not sure how things are. Maybe I got a different one,
No,
but I think
but
you and I got the
so I
same.
got mine. I got mine DHL. Like it came
Yeah, yeah,
directly from a factory, but it was North American.
branding.
Um, but North American packaging. So
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
really
That's what I was gonna
think
say.
that for the United States, that's what it should look like. That's the same thing that happened with the OnePlus 11.
That's true.
Is I got USA hardware. I think you got
Mm.
European hardware.
No, I got Chinese hardware.
You got Chinese.
My
Okay,
charger,
there you
my
go.
charger. So there's a for most of for I guess for everybody watching, just so you know, if you ever gotten a charger that has two flat prongs that are parallel, that don't have a hole in one of them, or at least in both of the prongs, those are Chinese edition hardware because the Chinese market uses the same connector as the US, except they're parallel and they're symmetrical in size. As opposed
Hmm.
to in the US, we typically have one larger. I think it's that the right one is larger and the left one is like,
Yeah.
but there is also a hole in it because that's how our chargers or our plugs are supposed to do. So the one I got somehow, I got the Chinese edition charger in a US box. There was a mix up somewhere. It obviously mine was not the rule. It was definitely the exception because it also charged it.
Yeah,
It
because I
said that it
didn't
was
get it.
charging at 100. So yeah,
Yeah.
either way, the approach to what we see here with the OnePlus Pad is OnePlus jumping into a market that has been lacking in the sense of a mid upper range performer tablet at an affordable
Yeah.
price point.
Something that
We've
gives
gone,
like a Tab S8 Plus even
yeah,
a bit of a run for its
I
money.
I
So
feel like
obviously screen sizes it's directly against a Tab S8,
yeah,
but performance and features and you miss out on some of the fun stuff like desktop modes. But it is more powerful than a Tab S8. The Dimensity is a better performer than the Tab S8, and
absolutely.
you can get it for a lot less. A Tab S8 is still retailing like $100 more than this.
And I think this is yeah one of the biggest things on that is it's the where does it fit and what is it competing with? And I feel like right now it's in the right market, and I think we need to see how the pricing and starts going up. A lot of the things right now are still in pre-order, so it's not really available just to be able to order it normally and see how that kind of goes up. And of course, OnePlus will have promotions, will have sales and different
Oh,
things,
for
especially
sure.
when that software
Yeah.
update hits. I really hope that people pay attention to that and some conversations come back because unfortunately I
Yeah.
had to return my unit. I don't have mine anymore,
Same.
so it's pretty much yeah. So it's
Yeah,
you're
we got real early launch hardware, so
and I
both of
do
us
want to
were
say
just
thank you.
using
Yeah,
loaners. But
that was very
yeah,
nice
it was
of OnePlus to keep us
really
in that
cool of
conversation.
OnePlus to help out. I'm gonna be bugging them to talk about when their updates land, because I want to see how that phone functionality works. Because we don't see as many options that look as robust as what
No,
OnePlus is trying to do. So I'll be curious to see if like that compares to some of like the Microsoft phone link
yeah, yeah.
kinds of concepts.
Once
So
that
we'll be
starts,
following up on it later.
when that starts though, also focus on the fact that that will run on your PC. Because the
Yeah.
OnePlus 11 won't just do it with the tablet. It then actually also becomes a screen mirror option for your PC with PC Connect.
Hmm.
So it's a dual
Yeah.
thing. OnePlus is not pushing PC Connect. It's not part of the biggest here, but the function itself, because I was able to use an Oppo device on a OnePlus Pad, that tells me that cross communication works perfectly with the PC on the PC Connect side when OnePlus 11 gets it. So it's going to be
Hmm.
so much more enjoyable. And yes, I'm in the same boat. I
Yeah.
kind of I put a check mark or put a tick in that one for later to hopefully bug them and see how that guy goes. But yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah.
Should be a lot of fun.
But yeah, so I mean, I think we both kind of felt like this was this was a really solid offering. I
I
mean,
think
it's
so.
never the winner, and
My
there's
brother
only
put in
one.
an order for one. I'll tell you that much.
Hey, that's
He
pretty
saw
cool.
it and he was like, "Hey, how was that? What do you?" I said, "I'm sorry, man. I typically, if I was able to keep it or something like that, it would have been absolutely. Please have fun, enjoy it."
Yeah, but
Um,
this one was just a loner.
this was a loaner, and
We're
he's
having
like,
some conversations because we've been using the really inexpensive tablets with Lex so far,
"Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
there are some things that's really great. Like if she's just kind of streaming like a Disney Plus movie, yeah,
Mm-hmm,
they work fine. They're fine.
mm-hmm.
But even with some of her little kid games, like the performance will just tank because they're very underpowered
Well, we're running
tablets, and
4
those
series.
tablets
Yeah, the 4 series processors, even if it's a Qualcomm
they're
chipset, I mean, typically it's
they're
4 or 600
fine
processor.
for
Yeah,
casual browsing and video streaming and not much else. And so
yeah,
looking at carrier tablets, because obviously they have all the phone radio hardware and stuff too.
yeah.
Like, yeah, I
Verizon
get
gets
why
to
they're
typical.
$400, but like, come on, that's such a poor experience at $400. So we were looking at either going with the Lenovo,
Yeah.
but there's something that kind of makes sense with having something a keyboard and trackpad, so she can use it a little bit more computery too for
Well,
some
I
of her
mean,
school apps.
first, I was going to say
So
the biggest effect for me, like especially where your video is going to be hitting on it as much, like for the majority of the pandemic, my son was running on a Chromebook. We didn't even have it
yeah,
on a Windows
same,
PC. Yeah,
yeah,
school really didn't really need it
Pixelbook.
much. Yeah, yeah. So for me, that conversation of what constitute a need for a tablet over a Chrome OS tablet, those are the things that we kind of need to make a sense of. It's becoming very hard to distinguish between the two because if it's running in a browser,
Hmm.
you're getting a desktop browser on your Android tablet anyways. You're
And
able to
one of the
run.
big perks for Chrome is now you can use Android apps.
I was going to say,
So,
welcome,
like,
welcome to the
yeah,
Android ID ecosystem, Chrome. It is. No, no, no. I'm with you. It's. I mean, to this day, we still use it, and unfortunately, I think our Acer Chromebook is I absolutely on its last leg because the display is starting to fail. The main display of the
yeah,
Chrome OS is failing, but we have HDMI. So because my son likes that one so much, we've hooked up through HDMI and Bluetooth a keyboard and mouse. So now it runs because the HDMI function works great. The power of the laptop is because I think it was an i5 at the time. We went
yeah.
with a higher version of it, still runs fine, and he still uses it. And then when he wants the game, he jumps on his PC and stuff like that. But that's just for Minecraft and whatever. Um, but I do want to talk a little bit also on because I realize we're crossing a little bit over the hour, and um,
Sure.
the Xiaomi 13 Pro Ultra, sorry,
Awesome.
13 Ultra, not Pro Ultra, awesome
Awesome.
sauce, always. I want to
Yeah.
say is, did you see the new colors, the limited edition colors?
No.
Oh, oh my God. They are coming
Hold on.
up with limited edition colors.
Let me see if I can find them.
Yes,
This I gotta see.
and there is one specific color that I'm gonna say. I feel like if moment I see somebody putting a skin with that color for the Xiaomi, I am buying that like it's going out. Like seriously, because mine is black, so don't get me wrong. It's a very much clean canvas. I can probably put anything on it and make it look. The
Ooh.
colors are good.
So
The colors.
I'm still good with green, but hold on. Let me go back into a
Can we?
screen share
Can it?
here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can we? Like, it looks
Let
okay.
me see if I can make this bigger.
Da da da
So
da
yeah,
da.
especially in that faux vegan leather.
Orange,
Um,
orange,
Orange looks
orange,
sharp,
orange.
but
That pixel orange,
I
orange.
really would have gone for that blue.
I
That
no no no.
blue
Don't get me wrong. Blue is my
that
favorite. Will
blue
always
speaks
be.
to me.
Come on, blue, but like blue and orange. You gotta appreciate
Oh, those
blue
are
and
pretty.
orange. Nice colors.
And the
Nice.
yellow is like Lumia style.
Yeah, it's Lumia, and it's almost a
Yeah.
little bit not Poco, almost a little bit Realme and Poco,
Mm-hmm.
that almost Poco black and yellow color going on there. I was like, that's the
Black and
Poco
yellow,
edition.
black and yellow, black and
Like,
yellow, black and
it's
yellow.
like,
Sorry.
you know what it is.
We just
Sorry.
got
Anyways,
demonetized.
yes,
Yay!
right. Actually, when you Google watch when we do get that milestone, they do basically try to go back and say, hey, can we monetize this channel? Let's look at the library. It's like, yeah, it was this point. It's
Yep.
today on May 5th,
Done.
2023. That's when we said,
So
May, my
you've been
friend.
shooting you've been shooting on the Oppo, you've been shooting on the
Yeah.
Vivo, you've been shooting on the Xiaomi. I
Yes.
have not spent very much. I've spent minutes with the Oppo. I got to hold it and kind of shoot a couple photos on it. I met up with another buddy who was rocking that and imported it.
It,
Um, I have very strong feels about the current state of camera competition, which one would you say you've started leaning on more for professional use?
Professional use, I'll have to say it's the 13 Ultra. I find myself more spending more time thinking more of a photography function with this phone than I have in the past. The setup, the
Mm-hmm.
configuration, the options, the toggles in here reminds me a lot of like where Vivo was actually going into. So between the two, I'm not going to say that Oppo doesn't put out a good professional mode. I feel like for me, the Oppo is more of the um, I know exactly how the images are going to be. I know exactly how the videos are going to be, and it's very good performance. So if you're looking for an all-around, very easy to use, very simple UI, and still very good colors and good images that come out of it, I feel like the Oppo will hit it right out of the park. I feel like Vivo goes more of a little bit more complicated in the sense of giving you more options to be able to figure out how to do it. But I feel like the Xiaomi right now is allowing me to dial it in a little bit more. I'm able to compose a little more, especially for low light photography. I'm enjoying it more. I know you were mentioning Lex going into to watch some of her friends perform. Well,
Mm-hmm.
Omar, last couple of days, we had a concert. We had a concert that I was sitting halfway away, like a pretty good distance away from him. It was very low lit. It's stage lit. Basically, everything else is dark.
Oh, stage lighting wigs phones out hard. Yeah.
Absolutely. But not on the Xiaomi 13 Ultra. Like, dude, the videos came out so good. Handheld setup. And the only thing I kicked myself is not bringing my tripod because I hit myself, but I got really good at holding the right hand and then left transitioning to left hand and resting the right hand, like doing the whole transition in there. But stage lighting has always been the biggest challenge, especially when you're not sitting so close, like how far you are, and then getting that shake in
So
your hand.
this is from the back of the auditorium at a performance arts center in
Yeah.
stage lighting, and again, I wish I had my audio set up so I could route the audio too.
That's
The
what
mics are picking this up like I'm sitting right in front of him.
my
It's
wife thought
shocking.
when we were playing the concert back for Vanya in the car. She was listening to it in the car. She thought the speakers in the car were playing the audio, and I'm like,
Yeah,
no, it's the phone.
no,
That's
and
how
when
good this is.
I started playing this and I had my finger by the speaker and you can feel the
Uh
air coming out of the speaker vents
huh. Uh huh. It's like
when you're
it's
playing
like
the audio.
it's
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, so that's from the 5X telephoto on the Xiaomi.
It
I
has
was very impressed.
very impressed, and I will say I wasn't not that I didn't expect it to perform well, and I will say that I've shot similar videos with the Find X6 Pro, and the Find X6 Pro does well at the 3x zoom. When you're using the native standard focal length of the lens,
Yeah,
you're perfectly fine. It's when you go slightly to 6 where it starts doing that hybrid mode where it
yeah.
uses the telephoto
That
and is
pixel
trying to
crop,
optimize.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
you
kind of
start
cuts
seeing
in.
some noise, especially when again, stage lighting is very hard because it's so focused and it's trying to fill in all the little missing pieces that it doesn't have. So you will see some grain, but it's not as pronounced like some other devices on the market. I still think Pixel does really nice, but when it comes down to that type of content that you're shooting there at 4K 60,
Hmm.
that phone runs nice. And dude, did not overheat to the point where it stopped itself.
No,
I will say the
it's been a pretty
Pixel
consistent
did,
performer. Yeah.
yeah, like Pixel couldn't hang in there for the amount of time because we're talking about like 45 to about an hour and a half worth of content that you keep jumping in and out and shooting at 4K
Hmm.
60. And every shot is about 4 to 5 minutes each. The phone doesn't have enough time to rest. So at
No,
some point or another, yeah, you will
you're
hit
heat
there. But
soaking at some point.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But the 13 Ultra for me right now has been really good, like performance wise. I'm shooting to try to put something out this Sunday or this Saturday or Sunday. Like I say, it's Saturday. Tomorrow's Saturday. Saturday or Sunday this weekend. I want to put something out a little bit on that, talking about my experience having it for literally about 2 weeks. I got mine right before my trip to Chicago. And obviously been using it and learning how to use it and set up everything. It
Hmm.
works really good. I'm using it on T-Mobile here. I'm sorry. I'm using it on AT&T here, and I've been able to pick up 5G. That's not bad.
Oh, that's good.
Band support, at least for my little region, my little nook, have been good with the that, and updates have been coming, man. I love it.
Yeah.
I just
The
I
most
want
recent
that.
camera update
Yeah,
just hit yesterday.
absolutely. Yeah, I was gonna say I woke up woke up this morning. I was like, hey, another update. And my camera grip still hasn't shipped, man. I don't know. I want to go
Me
talk
neither.
to
I
yeah.
think they all
Yes.
got like scalped. So
Yeah, and it's been sitting in
the
processing mode for like weeks. For me, it's
yeah,
like, oh my
less
god, I
good.
should. I know, but it's the grip itself, though. Like seriously, okay. So if you the way only way I can describe it is, it gives me Xperia One Mark IV vibes on a
Hmm.
Xiaomi. It's that,
Or
but it also
Lumia
gives us that
1020
dial.
vibes.
1020, yeah, yeah, the ability of dialing in,
Take it back,
zooming in,
OG.
zooming out, exactly, half press to focus. Like that camera experience, which I feel like I really use this phone as a camera. It's a camera with a phone attached to it. This is absolutely not a phone that you jump into, you stumble onto. You purposely will have to look for this phone, and I feel like anybody that gets this, there is a distinct difference between this and the Pro. Like it
Oh
is
yeah.
different. And I've used both. You can get some images to match, but the performance, like consistent performance, especially with the aperture configuration, absolutely great. And then like a little bit of like a black and white photography that I've been also doing with this as well. I've been trying to enjoy flexing it. It just the last couple of days we've had rain. I mean, today is still kind of you know, overcast for me. So hopefully this weekend will give me Saturday will give me some better lighting to go take out some you know, nice beautiful outdoor shots and so on. But yeah, the new colors look nice. I don't know if they're coming. I don't actually still no word of international release, so that's the other thing. We'll have to figure out when that's going
Yeah.
to happen. Yeah, because we're still all running
I
Chinese ROMs on it.
it's really just been it, it it's been very encouraging seeing the competition.
Hmm.
Like Xiaomi over the last 3 years has stepped up tremendously in their camera partnerships and what they can accomplish. And I don't know, man. Like, I know I get kind of snarky about it. I put out a video yesterday talking about just like some early camera experiences and some of my thoughts on what this phone is doing well. But you play around with an iPhone or you play
Hmm.
around with a Galaxy Note 23, and you're like, these are $1,200 devices, and then you pick up the Xiaomi Ultra, and it is a fundamentally different kind of photography conversation.
Yeah.
And the consistency of the sensors, the software, the application of processing, like, uh, it's it's a little discouraging. I mean, the Note is a very good camera platform.
Yeah.
It feels so static from the Galaxy S20 Ultra to the Galaxy Note 23, 4 generations of Samsung phones, and it feels so iterative. And here, in like the differences between the Xiaomi 12S Ultra and the Xiaomi 13 Ultra over a 1 year cycle are significant. And the 12S Ultra is still a monster camera imaging platform
Oh, absolutely.
today.
Yeah.
So it's been exciting because like that's the kind of competition we need to see if we want Samsung and Apple to really start stepping up and really bringing their A games to the table. But like, man, the two top options that we have in North America are absolutely refusing to be the market leaders that they claim to be. And then I pull out this Xiaomi, and every parent at my kid's school is like, "Oh, well, you're going to take all the photos." And you're like, I guess I will. I was at that talent show, and one of the
Hmm.
moms came up to me and was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry you couldn't join for our little get together the other day. We were really hoping that you would take photos for us." Like,
I love it.
I'm apparently already got the reputation
Some
for being the
photography.
free
Yeah.
labor photography guy. And again, it's not like, oh, it's just because the camera's so much better. I think I am a pretty good candid photographer, but you show this stuff off, and people here in North America are blown away. And it's not like, oh, yeah, that's a little bit better. I see what you mean. It's like, what are you doing? How is the phone doing that? It is an order of magnitude surprise because there is no recognition for what these mobile imaging systems can really do because Apple and Samsung are stuck in a holding pattern. They're only
Well, they're
competing
playing the
against
megapixel
themselves, so
game.
their
They're playing the
products are
megapixel game. Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
the same. Yeah, and they're
Yeah.
playing
Yeah.
gimmicks too.
They're
But
gimmick. Yeah. They're every. I mean, like from last year to this year, like we went 200. I'm like, okay, congratulations. Look at that detail. Look at
so
that
that's
bit.
already at a 2 times crop. This is already a 2x zoom from the main sensor,
Yeah.
and
So
then let's give it another 300% crop. And you're like, oh
and
my
we can
God,
count the
that's
follicles
sick.
on the inside of that flower. Yeah. No. No.
Like you can
It.
see the dimples in the pollen.
I.
Anyone listening to the audio version of this podcast, sorry, this is terrible audio podcasting when I'm just freaking out
Putting out.
about
I
photos
posted a
that I'm
picture
sharing on
of
screen.
like a spider web that had a little bit of like it was literally like floating in midair, and you're like that slice of focus, that sharpness. We're able to actually hit that focus point,
Mm-hmm.
and everything else naturally already is the diffuse in the background, but just getting that sharp, just exactly. I love these flowers for the amount of color that they give and the backsplash of the
Yeah.
yellow that you get in there, and a little bit of more of an orangey yellow there. It's just the colors that come out of there, the sensor, the processing, the fact that the phone stays cool, battery life is really good, and the functions that we get out of it, and the app just runs so smoothly. I think the one thing I did
Yeah.
say to the PR department, I said, please, please, please bring back the aperture button out of the settings tab. I'd like to
Yeah.
have that a little bit
That's
more. I
clumsy.
do appreciate it in the Pro mode. It is there. It is much
Honestly,
closer to
I'd
us.
I'd prefer they go back to the panel layout that they have like on the 13 Pro.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like this like new tuck everything away system really slows down how you can kind of manipulate some of those
Yeah,
camera
you
settings.
want. I mean, it's a large display too. It's not like you were running on a small display.
Yeah,
You have enough
and
space
especially
to
if you
put
shoot
it on
four
the
by
out.
three, we have plenty of space.
Absolutely, yeah. If you're using the full, if you're trying to get the full benefit of the sensor 4x3, but still we're not losing the space. And this is where I felt like when it was there before, and then you hit the update, and you're like, crap, I lost this function. And like, no, it's not. It's tucked up there. But look, yeah,
It's
look at the
buried.
color
Yeah,
representation there, the sky, the clouds.
so good.
It's also so nice right after rain because it's so clean, so
Yeah,
fresh.
California's been real pretty after a shower. Like
Yeah,
whenever
and
California gets a bath, it's a really nice place to
I
live.
well, I mean, it wasn't a very bad storm. It was a very passing one, and we're getting still scattered showers here and there. But I think the air smells so much nicer, and overall just enjoyable when you go outside. So yeah, I mean, you can see there, Lexus obviously having the time of her life, and you're getting like flying pictures of her because that's how we do it.
Trampolining, Action Star Lex.
Yeah, no, I
Oh,
know.
this.
Wait till
Oh,
this
hold on.
are
Let
the
me see if I
flips.
can find this one was pretty good too. I liked this. Just going
Oh
like
yeah,
real
California. Yep,
crunchy, high
that's a
contrast
California picture
surfer
right
out at
there.
the beach.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Ron Guido's asking if it can take pictures of the moon, and it does, but it doesn't take fake pictures of the moon.
No, it takes
So
real
hold on. Let
pictures.
me.
I
I
I
think
tried it a few
this is the
times.
one.
Oh, this is a good
No.
one.
Yeah, this one's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. Okay. So this is not in a moon zoom mode. This is
No, this
just
just
regular auto mode telephoto
I was gonna
reach.
say
So
that.
this is
Yeah, yeah.
the farthest reach on the 5x sensor, the super telephoto sensor, and you can see it's picking up that detail in the craters on the moon. But
Mhm.
this is not application of AI. This is really what the optical crop performance looks like from the
Yeah.
sensor. I need to take it out at night and
Yeah, yeah.
see their supermoon mode and see what the
Um,
AI can do when it's at night.
not the best.
Yeah, it's pretty fake.
Yeah. They
I
didn't
mean, the
try. They
Vivo
didn't
one
try.
is super fake, but
I
it tries to
I
be
I
this
I will
really kind of
say
dramatic
I
kind of
tried it
look.
when I was in Chicago on a few times, and it was having bugs, but then there's been two updates since. So I will take my step back, and I'll say we probably should take it out again, maybe tonight or tomorrow, and check it out and see how the moon's been, because I think we still have a big the presence of the moon is still pretty big. It's not disappearing. But yeah, no, there's a lot of enjoyment in using tech that is photography based, and it's weird, but like more and more I'm becoming more I enjoy devices more that I've focused on this experience, this part of the
Yeah.
conversation. Sony's been doing it for many years with their 12 the way they approached photography. We saw the teaser earlier. I don't know if you saw that. There was a teaser that was dropped. There's going to be a new not imaging
Hmm.
sensor. No, it is imaging. Yeah, the new
Yeah, it's a
imaging
new
tech that
sensor.
they're
Yeah.
exactly. And it looks like the 11th is going to be the day. So, you know, party time, and we'll be able to hopefully, it's like literally a week, oh crap, it's less than a week away. Like the day after
Yeah.
IO, I think they probably timed it
It's
right
it's
after IO for
it's
specific, or the
coming up
first day of IO.
fast.
Yeah, yeah, no. Oh yeah, look at that.
Whew.
Look at that color. Yeah. No, there's a big, and you can see it right there, jump between one sensor
Hmm.
to the other.
So this is at 4K 30. Unfortunately, it can't switch sensors at 4K 60. But
Yeah.
for smooth zoom, the only company that I think is doing smooth zoom better is Sony, and they're only managing a triple camera stack.
Yeah.
The Xiaomi is neck and neck with Sony for that kind of digital performance.
The
It's
performance
again,
and
I can't say enough nice things about it, and it has been kind of interesting. It's been kind of funny seeing some of the reactions, like even some of the international reviewers, like it's not that big of a deal. Xiaomi didn't even send me one to review, and I'm looking at these samples, and I don't think they're that great. And like you obviously have not shot on this thing. Xiaomi isn't winning. Like I don't believe there is ever a camera winner,
Hmm.
but what they're doing is special. And as a point of competition, I want more manufacturers copying some of the moves that Xiaomi is making right now. Even if it's not variable aperture, things like matched companion sensors are
Yeah,
such a big deal. The
yeah.
Oppo benefits
That's
from
that.
that. The ultra
Yeah,
wide and the
exactly.
telephoto are the same sensor. That's
Yep.
better for your photography and for your image processing.
It
So
is. It is. And I think this is why I really like. I still like the Find X6 Pro to be more of that casual shooter. I feel like it's much more dependable. You know exactly how the images are going to come out. The color science, the calibration between the three sensors.
yeah.
The approach was done very much into basically saying we don't have a main sensor on the back. We have a
Well,
combination of
even
three.
even just stepping aside from the image quality, what I feel often, and like I think Samsung is particularly guilty of this,
Yeah.
is the consistency of the user experience.
Hmm.
So it gets way more complicated. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna amend that. Samsung and Vivo
Yeah.
can fall into this trap really heavy. If I pick up a Vivo X90 or a Galaxy Note 23, and these are very expensive content creator phones,
Mhm.
I, as the user, have to memorize which features and which modes and which
On which
settings
sensor?
work
Yeah.
on which sensor.
Yeah.
So if I want 8K video, I have to know, okay, I can get 8K video from this sensor and this sensor, but not from these. If I want 4K 60, I know it's this and this, but on Samsung, it's fake 4K because they have to upscale the resolution. And on a Vivo, I know I can do 4K 30 from this sensor, but only 4K 60 from that sensor. And you're thinking about the operation of the phone more than you're composing the shot.
The actual. Yeah.
And in my video that I put out yesterday, I show this in more detail, but to TLDR it here, there are only two settings I found on the Xiaomi 13 Ultra that are not consistent across all four rear cameras.
Okay.
Variable aperture,
Of course. Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
but the other one is the 50 megapixel ultra raw
The
mode.
ultra. Yeah.
So you can do ultra raw on all the sensors. You can do 50 megapixel JPEGs on all the sensors, but only the main sensor will do a 50 megapixel ultra raw. That's it.
Yeah.
Everything else. You want 8K video?
Shoot them
All
on.
four sensors.
Yeah. Oh,
You
for sure.
want
Yeah.
4K 60? All four sensors. You want focus peaking with manual controls? All four sensors, video, photos, everything. You want voice shutter actions? All four sensors. Night modes? All four sensors. Everything else so far, and I hope someone will find something else because I'm sure there's probably one other little
Oh, I'm
omission
sure.
in there somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so far, every single core photography mode has worked across all four sensors, and you immediately stop thinking about, well, what mode do I need to do to be in what setting to do that? Like, doesn't matter. Change the focal length, you still
You
have the
you
same
stop
features
having
and
to.
capabilities.
Yeah. No. 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 You stop having to think about the mechanics and think about composition, think about the subject, think about the
Sure.
shot, to actually get into the shot and do it. I think that's the enjoyment for me, at
You
least with
just,
the
I,
with the
and
13
I would
Ultra.
imagine the Oppo is probably similar. You trust that the
Hmm.
phone is just there to back you up for your content, for your composition, and you're not
Yeah,
thinking about handling the phone. It's like you've got a super zoom lens, you've got all the same camera capabilities. It's like your mirrorless camera doesn't change features if you change the lens.
exactly.
Oh,
It's
this
like
lens only
it
shoots
stops shooting.
1080p,
Yeah, exactly. Like you get the
right?
lens, like you look at the box. It's like, so honey, why did you buy a 1080p lens today? I told you I
I
wanted
need
4K 60. I need
oh,
that 4K goodness in
I
this.
need at
Yeah, no,
least a
I.
6K lens, man. Come on.
It needs to
Real
have
quick
that
from
built-in buffer.
for real. Farhan is asking, is Xiaomi's Ultra Raw similar to Samsung's Expert Raw? Yeah, these are stacked DNG modes. So you
Yeah.
have a dedicated regular traditional RAW that works just like every other RAW, and then you have Ultra Raw, which is a series of DNGs that are then stacked. Very minimal. I think this is the least processed version of a raw mode that I've seen. Super raw is super. That's Vivo.
Hmm.
Super RAW is very aggressive in low light. So the whole point of Super RAW is like massive HDR composite so that you get
Okay.
ultra bright images in a DNG file. Expert RAW from Samsung is kind of the middle point. It's
Okay.
doing a lot of HDR processing, it's doing a lot of noise reduction, but it's not quite so light aggressive like a Vivo is. And then Xiaomi Leica is very minimal. It's like taking a stack, it's like taking a bracket, but it's less ratcheted than the other sort of super raw modes. I think that's going to be a consistent track with Leica. Is
Hmm.
Leica's looking at this and saying, we want it to look more like film. Can we make it look more like film? And any choice they make in processing the image is probably going to line up in that direction.
Makes sense. Makes sense. No, perfect. But yeah, so for me at least, I think I've had enough time with it to be able to start put out some impressions on it and some
Yeah,
ideas and
same.
how does
But it took a
how
while.
does yeah, no, but this is the thing though. It's a phone that I feel like you don't jump into, you don't stumble on into this and suddenly, you open up the box and you can make a review video on it. You need to live with it. You need to use it, and you need to,
Yeah.
I mean, whatever, I ran into Josh a couple of days ago or so, and he's rocking it too. He's literally
Yeah.
walking around with it. It's a phone that you have to live with to
Mm-hmm.
appreciate. And I think that's where the biggest conversations come through with from a device that you don't call it an ultra without giving those features. I felt like the last Ultra that I mean, obviously the 11 Ultra, I enjoyed it quite a bit as well. The 12S Ultra, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to play with it, but I did get a chance to actually appreciate through your content and how much you enjoyed it. So this is
Mm-hmm.
where my appreciation for the 13 Ultra and again, I'm hoping the international model comes out just exactly the same, all the features and all the functionalities that we're getting, the benefit that they're doing with the improvements over here. By the time they release it internationally, it just transitions right away, and we don't get that dual track. Because it's going to keep the same processor. So it's not going to be the same where we had with the Vivo. The X90 Pro was
Yeah.
running a different processor than the X90 Pro Plus. So maybe that could have played a factor in there. But I'm excited for that. I'm excited for that. And I really hope everybody, and I know Barry's also getting a chance to enjoy some of that as well, putting in some of content on that as well. And it's nice. It's nice to see when tech is, really trying to give us better imaging, better processing, leveraging the fact that we have better processors as well to give us that
Yeah.
experience. And we don't have to worry about heat up because that's a big thing. Like you get a phone, you enjoy it. And if it heats up, that's another mechanical thing or function thing that kind of slows you down, stops you from being able to take those footage or those videos. But um, what I was going to say, the last thing I did want to touch base on, I don't know, were you going to share something? Did you want to put something up or?
I was just looking at a couple other samples, but we should probably move on because I know we got to start wrapping this
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah. No, no.
So,
So I did get a chance to, as I mentioned before, I did get a chance to go over to Motorola's headquarters. I got a chance to check out, obviously the Edge Plus 2023, the Stylus, the Moto Stylus that we have here. This is the G Stylus 2023 and the Moto G 2023. And Moto was nice enough to send me the Moto G Stylus. This is the brand new edition one with the stylus, $200. Basically, I would call it basically a budget-friendly version of a smartphone that has a stylus built into it, kind of picking up to what the original LG Stylo used to be in what we used to
mhm.
get in that price range. Um, a slightly different experience in the sense that they're focusing on a couple of new features in there that I felt like was missing from this price point.
Yeah.
One is stereo speakers with Dolby Atmos configuration, so they're focusing on that. They're also still keeping the headphone jack, which is very nice. We didn't lose that expandable storage, but also upping the refresh rate up to 90 hertz on the IPS panel.
Yeah.
It is a 720p panel, not a 1080p, but you have to kind of the the thing at the
What
end of the
what
day is
what
sorry.
SoC was it rocking?
So this is the G85, the Helio G85. They
Okay.
went with a
So
slightly
yeah, you definitely don't want to be cranking 120. That's
yeah,
really
yeah,
not going to
and I feel
handle
like
a higher
the
refresh.
a lot
And
of
90 is
times
a good
where
compromise.
it is it's basically a 50% improvement over what you had before. If you're used to
Yeah.
60, 90 is a big jump. So having that in there, having now it does come in with 4 gigs of RAM as opposed to what we used to have in the past. So that's I felt like that may have been a concern. I feel like 4 gigs with Motorola's US works fine. It's not going to be,
Mhm.
you are obviously wearing what I'll probably say is it's a tailored experience at $200. It's
Yeah.
unlocked. You can pick it up directly from Moto. You don't have to get a carrier version or whatever. It is an LTE band only, no 5G. I think Moto last year released a 5G version of it, but that's a different phone. No word on that part.
Yeah.
Um, but I was still able to get like 120 megabits down. It's LTE is not slow. I feel like we're getting to the point
You
where
know,
we think
the the interesting fight. Sorry to
No, no,
like
please.
interrupt there. It was like the interesting fight. We lost the Stylo,
Hmm.
which I want to say I got my Stylo 6 for like 150.
Hmm.
Like I got it real cheap, and it performed like $150 phone. Um, but the TCL.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
TCL put
TCL
out their
last year.
stylus phone
Yes.
too, and I think that it'll be interesting to see if they can find for maybe like a $30 or $40 premium
Hmm.
the right combination of chip and modem to get
Hmm.
like a 5G version here in the United States.
Well, so
So
but that's what they did.
A
Yeah.
Moto G Stylus 5G.
So in 2022, 2022, they
They did
released
that.
the
They
version.
kind of split
They
them.
did
Yeah.
that. Yeah, they came out later and they're like, hey, look, we know that there's the entry level version of this, but here's the big guy. The thing about it is right now, obviously, we only have the LTE, so that's the initial release. At 200
Yeah.
bucks, I think it's a good starter phone. It's a good phone for somebody that's kind of trying to get a phone that can do smart functionalities, access to Google Play Store. Again, 4 gigs is
Fine
limiting.
pen touch. Yeah.
Yeah, pen touch in there as well, and silo for the pen that also and built-in functions when you take it
Sure.
out. Like you can take it out and start writing on it again, similar to
Yeah.
what we've seen. I'll say that my biggest thing about this though is I had to relearn that the silo is on the right, not on the left, because you have
You
a
had to
headphone
reach
jack
for
on
it.
the phone,
Yeah.
right? So what Moto did here is when you take them both out, it looks like you have two headphone jacks
Two
to a
headphone
certain
jacks.
extent. I don't know if you
That's
can get it
funny.
here. Can I get? This is going to be funny. Can I get it to focus? Come
This is
on,
taking me back.
Sony.
Which one was it? Was it the Note 5 where Leo Laporte put the stylus in backwards and it got stuck in his Samsung?
Oh, okay. Where
I
I'm,
think it was.
I'm out of focus, and I don't know if I'm the
That's
one
okay.
who's out, but come on, Sony.
Uh, no.
Okay, I'll bring myself back in here.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, you're back. Was I the one frozen, or were
That
you the
kind of
one
works.
frozen?
No, you were out
I
of
froze.
focus, but I don't.
Yeah. So you. Okay, so let's see if we can do this here. I'll bring it over
I don't
here.
know. This is.
So,
There we go.
so here's where it gets kind of a little
Oh
confusing. Yes,
no, two holes.
exactly. And my stinking muscle memory kind of going on back into where it used to be with Samsung, because
Mm-hmm.
Samsung has it on the left. It counterintuitive, but it is on the left. So I always try to put it into the headphone jack. It doesn't do anything. Obviously, it doesn't hurt anything because the headphone jack is obviously has a certain level. But the issue that I had with it is like I'm having flashbacks back to the like
Yeah.
you were saying I think before with the Note. Was it the first Note 5 or Note? No,
I
not
want to say it was the Note 5 that
yeah,
had
where
the.
people were trying to put it and they're trying to put it backwards, right? They were trying to put it
They
in
put it in backwards and
and then it would
yeah.
get stuck.
But I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
so
whenever we mistreat styluses,
this
it's
is
usually bad for the phone. But at least here, it's a little safer
it
for
is,
that.
and
So
some precautions were put in there. Flat display, 1080p resolution video for the most part. I think that's going to be the best that you can get. But
yeah,
the the biggest combo here is for consumption. This is going to work great. 5,000 milliampere, 720p display, G85. You're going to be able to last for quite some time. So that's I feel like where
yeah.
the life,
Battery
for
life
somebody that wants
has
to, yeah,
always been monster
yeah,
on those motos. The I think the thing that we kind of get hung up on
yeah.
is I was looking at the TCL stylus, and I
Hmm.
think I did a video on it. I might not have. Oof, that's bad. Um, but you're looking at the TCL stylus. I was a really big fan of the LG Stylo 6, even though
Yeah.
that was a pokey performer. It did some things surprisingly well. Epic battery life, a much better than average headphone jack, really great
Hmm.
multimedia features. It actually did have the Wacom digitizer. It was the
Oh,
same
okay, yeah,
screen,
yeah, yeah.
the same underpinnings, I should say, the same underpinnings. So you could use a Wacom stylus on that, even though it was a capacitive stylus that was in the box. But we kind of get caught up like, oh, this is like a $200 phone. I mean, even that's a lot of money. This is the phone that someone's gonna walk in and get for free. This is the phone like, hey, I want to sign up for a new line of service on a low cost carrier, and I
Yeah.
want to walk out the door with something that makes phone calls, and you just get this phone.
No, no, absolutely, and I think
Like,
this is the approach that you also want to kind of get at it. It does so. I'll say this: the main sensor that we have on the back is I think it's a 50 megapixel camera if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it is. It actually does pretty well considering the as long as you're in good lighting, you're able to get pretty decent processing on there. It's not the
yeah,
fastest, and you are going to wait the extra second to wait for it to process the image as you take it.
yeah,
Um, but the overall performance that we get there, the way I'm trying to explain it is I may be using similar words that when I describe a device that is, let's say, 1,000 or 800 or
Mm-hmm.
depending on the phone that we're looking at. The tailored experience that we have here is tailored to be at a 200 price point.
Sure.
Moto decided
MSRP.
that MSRP. This is obviously not yet, but any sale, any special, obviously will drop it even lower. The thing that you need to keep in mind is they valued based on feedback from consumers that stereo speakers was a big thing, and actually it is. It's
Sure.
absolutely a big thing. A lot of people, and I'll say even in my own household, that love to put their phones speakers on, full blast on audio, put the phone down and walk away and use it as a boombox. That is a thing. And I didn't
Yeah.
realize that it was as much of a concern until you start having devices that only have a single speaker. And in this price
Yeah.
point, Moto's typically has been in that single speaker experience. So going to dual
Yeah,
speakers,
a lot.
going with that 90 hertz refresh, those are key findings or key research-based improvements that they decided to do to improve the user experience in the long run.
Yeah.
Because as you said, you're not going to buy this phone and flip it in a year. People are buying this, they're sticking with it, and as long as they are going to get one more Android update. It does release with Android 13, so getting Android 14 security patch updates on that thing, you're still getting your value out of it. And I feel like I understand why the G series is one of Moto's more popular series, more selling series.
Yeah.
Because of that bang for the buck experience. Now,
Sure.
obviously, the Edge Plus. Hopefully, I'll have a chance to be able to play with that. I would love to check that out.
Yeah.
Big improvements, obviously, with the A Gen 2. No stylus support. That was going to be the
See,
one thing.
that's where I'm a little torn because
I
now
lost. I was like, oh my god, I really was like,
my
why?
SIM card was swapping back and forth between my Xperia 1 Mark IV and my Moto Edge Plus 2022. I wish we would just get it. Would just naming is dumb.
Nah.
Just call it the Edge 40 or Edge 30, so we have a frame.
Or the Edge 40 Pro. So we saw
saying
some leaks also the Edge 40 Pro,
Edge,
which is coming.
Edge Plus 2022. The reason why I was so excited about this phone is because it's kind of like the baby Note that we never get. We don't have a mid-priced, or I should say, we don't have an entry-level premium-priced stylus device anymore. And so we have really, really inexpensive stylus phones, and then we've got the Note 23, which is a very expensive phone. And while I love that they're cutting $100 off the MSRPs, that's ballpark what they're
I think that's what it is.
I love that the Edge
and there's
Plus
2 storage capacities, by the way. There's also 2 this year.
Is going to be cheaper.
Last year we only had 1.
The Edge Plus 2022, but
last year. Yeah, I know. The naming.
I loved having that $899 price point for a 512 gig phone with stylus support.
Yeah,
that was an interesting productivity conversation. Now it looks like the Edge Plus is going to be just kind of another also ran competitor against like the, I don't know, Galaxy S23 Plus.
I would say the Plus, yeah, because he's
kind of somewhere in there.
It's a 1080p 165 hertz refresh rate display, so it's faster, same resolution, faster technology on the charging for the battery. It's still 5,000 ish battery on it. The camera stack
like
is actually. I thought. Well, I mean, that's what I said. Kind of ish.
But close enough. Okay. Sorry.
If I wasn't mistaken,
not to get too nitpicky.
No, I have.
But if they're launching that at like $799, then I think you've got an incredible performer against a Galaxy S23 Plus. And Motos typically have been much better performers than people ever give them credit for.
Absolutely.
So while you would maybe spend $100 more for the Samsung to get those software updates, if you're looking at productivity, if you're looking at DeX versus Ready 4, if you're
that's
looking
the
at
other thing. Yeah, so Ready 4 in its full capacity, in its full function there. Actually, I take that back. So 5100, it's actually over. It's they did go up on the battery side. I had to pull out all the specs I had brought with me in here. It's so the biggest thing I would probably say is, for me, the design aesthetic is a little bit different from what we had last year, with a little more of a like all symmetrical, same level. The cameras are kind of now sitting in a little more of a square. Kept the IP68 rating. I'm really hoping I get a chance to try that out. Last year, both of us got a chance to, and I'm excited to what Motorola has to say when it comes down to these, experiences. But the biggest thing I'll probably say is, at least on the overall experience, they're trying to still give a better, more affordable version of it. They're breaking it up. There's 2 versions of it, I think, a 256 and a 512. So that's the biggest thing in there. But I would probably say the stylus was the biggest. I would feel like that one
kind of hurts my heart.
Because it changes things on them. I understand, and I mean, you're still able to use a capacitive thing. You can pick up one, but I think you lose some of the
Yeah, but
built-in
like
functions.
it's been
Yeah,
awesome where we'll be sitting out at dinner, and instead of having Lex just watch a video or play a game, I can hand her the AutoCAD sketchbook,
yeah,
and she's going through pens and brushes and inks and like, oh, and I can do this as like a pattern fill, and she's like so much more engaged.
hmm,
Do you know what I mean? It's not
yeah, yeah,
just a passive like, oh, I'm pushing buttons and making my character jump on an endless running game. It's like she's creating and she's stimulated, but she's focused, and like
yeah.
that to me has been an incredible like shift in where I also value a good stylus enabled phone. And so I'm still very much looking forward to the Edge Plus 2023. I will be covering it at some point, but it's not immediately in my list to jump on right now
Yeah,
because
I
there are
know, I
some
know.
things that I
Like
can't show
it.
you on my table right now. Like 3 or 4 things that I can't talk about
These are.
yet, but are
Is it?
really cool.
The, it is. It is always going to be one of those.
So I'm gonna be anxious to look at it because I think it's gonna be one of the better like desktop mode, laptop replacement, powerhouse kinds
Absolutely.
of devices. But we lose a little of the charm where Moto was able to undercut the Galaxy Note 22 with a device that outperformed the Note 22.
Yeah.
Every benchmark in head to head that I put the Moto Edge Plus against the Note 22, the Moto would run warmer, but it would come out on top.
Well, but that's I think that's the biggest thing about with this one. We're going to get the benefit of the HN2, which I think is a big move for them.
Mhm.
Last year we didn't get an A plus Gen 1 edition of the device.
Yeah.
Again, keep in mind Moto releases more devices internationally, and we typically will get like different versions of them in the US. But at the end of the day, it's exciting to see that the Edge is continuing, still powerhouse, still inclusive. And I was very much surprised with the quality of the video on the front facing camera, although still main sensor on the back will sound the best. Um, I did, like I said, I played with it a little bit. I put out a reel with showing video straight from the front and the main sensor on the
Yeah.
back because I don't have the device, so I didn't have a chance to play it to some more content. But the devices are available on Moto's site, on Moto, on Amazon, I think overall in unlocked versions. So if you'd like to check it out, please check out Moto's website. Um, and then with that being said, I do want to, unfortunately, we are running a little bit out of time. I have a solid 11 o'clock thing that I have to jump into. So not that I want to
Yeah.
cut the show and then kind of bring it
We
in
gotta
there.
bounce. Peace.
Gotta bounce. See ya.
We out.
Yeah, with my bad glasses, I'll probably break them again. Um, there's a lot of things coming up. Obviously, next week's going to be massive for tech, not only just because of obviously Xperia talking, but they're also there. You know, obviously Google's going to be talking about a lot of stuff going on. If I'm not mistaken, I think Poco's also hopefully coming up with something very soon, so we're going to be hearing more about them as well. So this is
Oof.
we're picking up
It's a
again. That's
lot.
what I'm trying to say. There was a little
Yeah.
bit of a lull after MWC, like that lasted literally a month, and we're going back into the full swing of it. We'll obviously be recapping, talking about a lot of stuff about, especially next week with IO. I really want to be able to do a good recap on that. And luckily,
Yeah.
our show always shows up after most events, so perfect timing on that one.
Yay.
But I do want to say thank you for everybody for hanging out with us on this beautiful Friday, Cinco de Mayo. Hope you're doing well, and hope you are safe. And we'll see you guys hopefully next week. Thank you to my co-host Juan Carlos Bagnell, some gadget guy. All the information about his shows, Patreon, all the stuff that if you'd like to be able to check him out and support him will be in the show notes. Audio version of this podcast will be hopefully up within the next day or so by tomorrow, hopefully.
Sure.
And I'm your host as well, TK. Be safe, stay safe. We'll be with you guys again for another episode of the best of our week next week.